and has been well respected by me for a long time. And of course, with Nick and Carlos with the special teams, just really with the three pieces coming back, Trent, Banger, and Brandon, seeing him put his fingerprint on that has been really, really excited. A lot of work to do. Some of the young guys, they've got to use these next 5 weeks to get caught up. There's a few guys that specifically, know they're a little bit behind. That's normal this time of year. They missed the first, 5 weeks or 4 weeks, I guess, of the offseason program, phase 1 and phase 2. But they have their work cut out for them in a good way. And the good news is the way the installations go is OTA 1 is the same as training camp 1 and OTA 2 and so on and so on. So they're hearing the information really in, for multiple times the same way. And I think that's important. That's something that I've believed in for a long time.
As a first-year head coach, obviously you have your plan of how you want to do things. How much have you had to tweak things as you've gone through this process?
There's always tweaks. I'm always evaluating things. I think I'm always looking for better ways to do things. I think I'm real big into what I call AARs, after action reports. After anything that we do, we kind of fill out an AAR. Okay, what'd you do well? What do you need to do better? What did you learn from it? A lot of people do that after games, but I think you have to do it. We did it after the draft, and we did it after phase 1, and we did it after phase 2, and now that mini camp and really phase 3 is over, we'll do the same thing as a staff, and there'll be things that we'll take forward next year when we look back and we're planning for the offseason program to say, hey, let's do this, let's implement that. Hey, I didn't really like that. Let's move on from that. So I think you got to stay curious.
Clarence Hill, DLLS Cowboys. First of all, who's behind?
Say again?
Who you said was behind the black catcher?
Say what?
Who was behind?
Oh, who? Oh, well, let me give you the names.
Yo, if you serious about game.
Diggs coming in, certainly the uncertainty around when he will be ready. Can you just talk about that? How does it impact your plans, the cornerback, if it has at all, and what you're doing, and when do you think he'll be ready to go?
Yeah, again, I'm not going to get into when he's going to be ready. You don't know. He's got to maximize these next 40 days or whatever it is, five weeks, and it's been great having him back. It's been great having him with Britt. Trust his plan, trust the work, but to put a timetable on it, not going to do that. In terms of the importance of training camp, when he's ready, he'll be ready. Again, it gives opportunities for guys like Kalen Carson, Troy Pride, Kyrie Elam's doing great. So it's given us a chance to evaluate some of the younger players while Trayvon gets back and gets ready. And that's kind of when a guy gets injured, you hate it. But it does open the door for other guys, and you get a chance to evaluate guys that maybe you don't get a chance to see. And they'll get real reps, in training camp, and you'll see them going against CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens and guys like that, which is a big part of the evaluation, seeing the good guys against the good guys. And I think that's something that those guys are excited about.
Now that Pickens been here a month, you guys had a chance to really be around him more so than just the early stuff. Everybody's put the right foot forward. What have you learned about him that you didn't know? What has impressed you about him that you've seen?
He comes to work every day with a smile on his face. He's very personable when you get to know him. I love being around him. I love talking to him about life. I love shooting baskets against him. I love just watching his. I talked to him a lot about ball and his experiences at Pittsburgh and what he likes and what he doesn't like. And he's been amazing. He was the last guy to leave the practice field today. I think that speaks volumes of the fact that he's excited about what we're building. And I'm a big GP fan.
Brian Todd with ESPN. Earlier you said you like a lot where you are offensively. What do you like the most about where you are?
I think, we got through the installs, which was good. Today was kind of like the final exam. What do I mean by that? It's like in college when, you have your build up to the big test at the end. We basically took the 9-10 installs that we had, and we did a call-it period at the end, which basically we broke the team up. 2's on one side, 1's on the other, just mix and match in different pieces. And we just put the ball down and called it. I called one side, Clayton called the other, Flus called one side, Andre called the other. And just anything was at our beck and call. So we could go to whatever we want. It could be OTA 1 install, could be OTA 3 install, could be OTA 5
That boy's
install.
smart, y'all. That boy's
I think
smart.
it's a good way of checking ourselves with where we are in terms of the command of the system. Remember, the objective is you put all these plays in, but when they go play, they got to play. There's a thing called player's mind, which means when they go out there to play, they can't be thinking about, okay, what's my split, what's my alignment, what's my depth, what's my protection rule. It's got to be where they're free to play and think and react. They're the greatest athletes in the world, and so if you bog them down with too many things where they're thinking about being perfect and robotic, then they're not going to play, a million miles an hour. And so I felt like that. I haven't seen the film yet with the 2s. I felt like the 1s showed great command of what we've done, and we pulled from really all the different installs, and that gets me excited.
And then Dak every year takes his skill guys on a trip. Obviously, there's a camaraderie part of that, but is it more important maybe this year because CD's been around this offseason, wasn't around last year, Pickens is new, that trip maybe takes on added importance at all?
Yeah, I think that trip's just awesome in general, Todd. I think it's for a lot of reasons. They work. I mean, you guys probably see some of the videos. I know I see some of the videos. I mean, they work. They put the time in. They talk a lot of ball. They do a lot of team building stuff, which is great. But make no mistakes, they're there.
Come on, y'all, keep the engagement up.
Spend time to keep the
engagement up. Hit that like, share this content.
Level. They know each other, but again, it's the time away from the grass that I get excited hearing them talk about. It's some of the team building stuff they do, some of the conversations that they have. Those are the things. Actually, when I follow up with Dak, after they do it, and just check in with him. I mean, those are the things when he comes back to training camp, I like to ask about that. Like, what'd you guys talk about? Like, what was the cool things? Like, the ball stuff's the ball. But it's really more them spending the time together that matters to me. And I think there'll be a great turnout like there always is.
John Schroeder with The Athletic. For you personally, how different or maybe the same will these next month and a half be between now and the start of training camp?
I'll definitely get away a little bit. I think
Just
it's
a little
important to
bit.
recharge your battery. It's a long season. It's been a long year. When you take a job like this, you don't really get a long break.
Right.
But the biggest change for me is instead of having to look over 45 guys in terms of staying in contact and reaching out, now you got 90 guys. And not only 90 guys, but you got a full staff. And so I'll be busy, making phone calls and checking in. I might have a shotty in hand and sitting on the beach somewhere, but doesn't mean I can't, make a couple phone calls and check in with everybody. And, I called the guys up today and I told them, hey, a couple things is number one, take care of yourself, take care, your families, hang with the ones you love, and then I told them I love them, and I got a little emotional. These guys gave us everything that we've asked for this spring, and I think they'll do that when we get started out in Oxnard.
And OTAs and minicamp combined, what would you say has been the thing that you've enjoyed the most as your first kind of OTAs minicamp as a head coach?
Yeah, the way we ran. The way the energy and the effort that we put out on the practice field. There's a lot of ways to do it now. It's funny. You look around and some teams barely practice at all. Some teams don't wear helmets. And there's a lot of ways to do it, but I would say the way these guys have taken to the way we tried to teach them how to practice has been really, really cool. And I think we showed that you can throw a hell of a practice in an OTA tempo without having guys on the ground, without having collisions. I just feel like as a whole, they took the instruction that we gave them, they applied it, and they did it at a really, really fast level. And
That's dope.
that makes me happy, makes me proud for them.
Nick Harris, Forward Star Telegram. When did you start seeing the buy-in from all the guys? And was it player-led? Do you feel like it was something maybe you did, or when did that?
Shout out to you, David.
I don't think it's anything I've done. I think it's and I don't know. I mean, from the first meeting that we had in the locker room, I think there was a excitement. Is it about me? I don't know. I think it's about the energy that they feel around the building. It's real. It's tangible. We got a great group of guys, man, and they work. I mean, to have perfect attendance in mandatory minicamp and whatever it was, 90-something% attendance in the offseason program, and that's something that we should be proud of. I don't know what the other teams are doing. Don't really care, quite honestly. But this team and this locker room in general is made up of the right people, and that gives you a chance. Doesn't guarantee us a damn thing, but it gives you a chance, and it tells you that, okay, great, we're going to go out to Oxnard, and then we're going to actually be able to put on pads and practice and play real football, and then we'll know a little bit more about where we stack up against the rest of the league.
That part. I went to Dak today, and he talked a little bit about he's not really worried about legacy. He's just worried about winning a championship. Being in this building, having that kind of weighing over everything, that trophy. Have you had discussions with Dak about legacy and your many conversations with him? And what does legacy mean for you?
I think legacy. Well, no. The first answer is no. Dak and I haven't really talked about his legacy or a legacy in general. We just talk about what it takes to win. The work ethic and the sacrifice you have to make to win. I think that's relevant in any field that you guys are in. You guys are all obviously very successful at what you do, and there's sacrifice and there's time spent, and so we talk a lot about that. This is one of the hardest working players I've ever been around. Talking about Dak, of course. Legacy to me, I think it starts with people. I to this day I go out on the field for a game, and I will have 2 or 3 different individuals come up to me and say, "Excuse me, Coach, you have a second?" And I know exactly where they're going. And I, of course, drop what I'm doing because I want to hear it. And they say, your father changed my life. And it's former players. And so he never won a Super Bowl, won over 200 games in the NFL, but I would put his legacy up against anybody that's ever coached in the National Football League.
Damn. Don't cry now.
Patrick.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Cowboys.com. As a first-year NFL head coach, I mean, you saw as the OC last year just how Tyler Guyton struggled to stay healthy because of just what's required of guys coming out of college, going through the combine process, and then going right into an NFL training camp. What's your message to your rookies and your first year as head coach to tell them, hey, you can get balance, physical rest with staying in shape and staying ready for training?
Yeah, great question. We address it all the time. The position coaches address it all the time. Lean on the veterans. Talk to them. We have mentors and mentees that we kind of align together where you ask a younger player to
mentors and
you
mentees.
Spend some time with this veteran player and talk to them about routine. They all need to get away. They all need to get a little bit of a break, right? It's a long season. But if they don't have a plan, then they will not be ready. Talking about the young players, of course. So, Donovan talked to me the other day. Ezraku talked to me, and he said, "Hey, Coach, these next 5 weeks, what do I need to be doing? Like, what
I love
do I
it."
do?" And I said, I have my thoughts. I said, and I'll give you my thoughts. But first, you go talk to Solomon Thomas, because Solomon Thomas has been doing it physically more than I have.
Right.
So he has a great routine. And if you don't like what Solomon says, then go talk to Dak Prescott. Go talk to Micah Parsons. Go talk to whoever. And so I think that's the best thing that these guys can do is lean on the guys that have done it. But if they don't have a plan, then they will fail. And I've had a couple of the younger guys, not to be named, up into my office and tried to ask them if they could give me their plan. And some were better than others. But we're working through it. So I feel really good about this rookie class. The effort they gave was incredible. But these next 40 days are really, really important for them.
40 days. Those who fail to plan to fail. Write that down. Those who fail to plan to fail.
Head coach, summer break. Think back to all those years as an assistant. So you feel like you're in the place you're supposed to be right now as you get ready to take a little break and head toward your first camp.
Gerard, you crazy.
I'm very excited. I'm excited that the offseason program went as well as it did. I'm excited with the connection piece that we've made. I'm excited about how these guys have competed. I think it's a really, really special group of young men that have a common purpose, a common goal. But I'm also really excited to spend some time with my family. This has been rightfully so a long 6 and 7 months, and so I'm going to spend some time with my son and my daughter and my wife, and I won't be too far away from my iPad and my phone. Mm-hmm. But you have to do this, and our players have to do that. Family's important, and when you're hanging around the ones that you love, that's not just your family. that's the guys in our inner circle. That's the guys in the locker room. And so there'll be things that I'm doing with our players and their wives and their girlfriends over the break. It's not just where I go disappear. I'm not doing that. I love these guys. I want to be around these guys.
Yeah.
And so, there'll be some nights, I'm sure, when I'm laying in bed on vacation and thinking back to, how this offseason has gone. Has it been perfect? No. Yeah. Has it been really good? Yeah. It's been really good. And I think we've put ourselves in a great position to capitalize on the momentum of a strong player acquisition piece, going back to free agency and the draft, and then watching these guys practice for the last 4 weeks has been incredible.
Brad Sham, 105.3. The
Brad Sham.
Coaching staff with a lot of young
the
guys
legend.
Who don't know each other, have not known each other. What's been the challenges and the progress you've seen in them, John?
One thing that we pride ourselves on doing as a staff, and when I say the staff, talking about myself and the coordinators, we always want to coach the coaches. We look for opportunities for the younger coaches to get up in front of position groups and lead meetings and do things, and we give them projects all the time because we're going to win. And when we win, our coaching staff is going to get rated, and people are going to come after our coaches because we're going to win.
Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established.
The guys in the building that you believed in enough to hire and bring here and begin to talk about your culture and your vision and things like that. And then you give them opportunities to watch them teach and watch them run the defensive back room or the linebacker room. And then you give them feedback. And that feedback sometimes is criticism. Hey, do this better. But a lot of times it's more
coaching.
Well, what were you thinking? Like, for example, Clayton today. He's not a young coach, but him calling plays today, at the other end of the field. Like, he's never called plays before. So I asked him how it went. He said, "Man, I did good. I got messed up on one. Would have been a timeout. Would have been a timeout." But I think we're always trying to develop everybody, and we've got some tremendous young coaches, and what they bring in energy and juice. We want to reward that energy and juice that they bring every day by giving them valuable football knowledge that makes them a better coach, more
bring them
seasoned
baskets.
in fundamentals, better with scheme, better understanding. And I think that's a huge part of the position I sit in, to make sure you're always developing your staff from top to bottom.
Is the familiarity and cooperation between and among them more organic or more or less important than it is for the players?
I think we have really hard conversations as a staff, and I think what I will say is this group has blended together really, really fast. Think about, we've got coaches from Chicago, of course, coaches from Dallas, coaches from San Francisco, coaches from Arizona, coaches from college. So I would say, you bring in all these people into a room and a family, and that's, I think, where the off-season program, when I look back, I really like, I could have started the off-season program a week earlier. I didn't. But I think that decision paid off tremendously because it bought us an extra week as a staff to blend the group together and to get on the same page with how we want to say things. Like it's not who's talking in front of the room, it's that the message is being delivered the same way. And so I feel like, this group from a relationship standpoint is very strong. We trust one another. We have really good, hard conversations. We don't agree on everything. They challenge me, which is what I want. I don't want yes men. I don't have all the answers. Y'all hear that? Never have thought I have all the answers. But I love the fact that we can have real conversations. And then once the conversation's over and we decide whatever direction we're going, whether it's the decision I made, someone else made, it's a Cowboys decision. And the players will never know that discussion even happened because it's what's best for us to win.
Best for us to win.
Codell, CBS Sports. Brian, you said you can't get a lot out of seeing running backs not in pads and things like that, but what have been your evaluations of Javonte, Miles, J.D. Blue, and the group through the offseason program with us?
Yeah, I'll start with Javonte. Can't say enough great things about him. The way he practices, the way he approaches practice, though, you guys know I love the word, the intentionality. I think that's for a younger player.
The intentionality.
A couple years in, he's figured it out. I don't know. I've never asked him. I should ask him, hey, who did you learn from? Because somebody taught him how to practice. He's awesome with that. Miles has been great as well. You feel the veteran side of both those guys. Like they're veterans. They know how to work. They know how to prepare. It was funny. I was talking. I was calling a play yesterday to Dak, and I was telling him to remind. I can't remember if it was Javonte or Miles. I think it was Javonte maybe. And I said, "Hey, remind Javonte." And he kind of looked at me. He said, "He's a valedictorian." And Javonte looked back and smiled. It was Javonte. But like, there's something to these veteran players, that does help. And so they've been great because they've been helping Jaden and Phil. And again, those two young guys, again, they have a lot to learn in a good way. They're used to, most college guys are. They get to line scrimmage really fast and they look over and they look for what? Signs. And there's guys holding up boards and signs and signals and things like that. Now they're in a huddle and doing things like that. So a lot of it is you've got to learn how to break down these lengthy calls and, okay, what matters to me and what doesn't. And I think those guys have done great.
Yeah.
Deuce is Deuce, man.
Deuce.
Every day the guy works his ass off. Every day. He knows what he's doing. We love the cross-training stuff we're doing with him and Hunter Lepke. We have to value
Mazzy,
these
appreciate
players
you,
to where
Mazzy,
they do
Mazzy.
more than one thing. So whether it's Deuce Vaughn playing receiver, Hunter Lepke playing tight end, Terp playing running back, you have to cross-train these guys because on game day, we're only allowed a certain amount of guys. And unfortunately, it's such a physical game that if we don't start doing that now, it's going to hurt you when you get going. To
Come on with it, Coach.
Follow-up, you were in the locker room during
Yeah.
Parsons and Toya's ping pong game. You were pretty locked in. Is that kind of what you envisioned, the whole locker room kind of locked in and yelling and hooting and hollering together in a moment like that?
I think so. It's compete every day, and they were having fun with it. There was a lot of trash talk going on. I want to play Micah. I beat the shit out of Dak all the time when I play him. So
Yeah.
Micah's next. I'll put
Look
that
at
out
Coach
there for
talking.
Micah, see if he wants to accept the challenge over the break. But, I thought Jay had him. I thought Jay had him, and then just couldn't finish him.
John.
Man, he's got to be the best coach Cowboys had from a verbal aspect in history.
Marty, Sunday is Father's Day. I'm just curious how you celebrate now as a father yourself. But also, how do you honor his life legacy now that he's gone? And if there's anything that you could say to him now, what would it be?
I wish I could hold you
You're
now.
going there, huh? Last day of minicamp.
Trying to get that man to cry. Trying to get him to cry. They breaking him.
I know he's proud.
Damn, man, don't do the man like that,
I
man.
miss him.
Damn, I know the feeling, bro. Damn, man, they do that man
I
like
would
that.
tell him that I used all the life lessons that he taught me, not just about football, but about life and being a good man and a good husband and a good father, and that I think I'm doing okay for myself. But
Man,
I know he's
make me
proud.
cry, man.
I miss him like crazy.
Woo.
I actually lean on some of his friends now. Guys like Bill Cowher, that he, coached with, and but Father's Day will be a special day. I'm obviously a father of two amazing kids, and I'll talk to my mom, and I know he's looking down on me, but I appreciate you making me get teared up, up here the last day of minicamp. And I'm going to change the subject real quick.
Change
Make sure
it up.
You guys keep this note. The 2025 offseason program sharpshooting champion is none other than Sam Williams. You guys have no idea what that means, but he is the 2025 offseason program sharpshooting champion, and he beat Tyler Guyton. So, big trophy. Can't believe you guys didn't see it down there.
Yeah.
Say again?
What are we
Baskets.
shooting? Baskets.
Yeah, baskets.
Basket. Bring them
He got
baskets
hot.
up, man.
He got hot. Big upset.
Man, I'm crying over here.
Coach, I want to follow up on the question about your dad. When you
Ah,
look at this
Lord.
season as a whole, your first time as a head coach, is there a particular moment that would be the first story?
They killing this man. Dallas, boy, y'all terrible, man.
Where my mind went when you first asked that question,
Jeez.
not really. I would say the one thing, we're obviously an emotional family, and I was really nervous going into the press conference. Big moment. You've been waiting for your whole life, and Tad and them didn't tell me he was out here. I thought it was in here. I was like, oh, it'd be cool. It'd be 50 or so people in there, whatever. But I didn't know it was out there. But so I kind of came out of Jerry and Steve and walked me down, and I saw my family. But when I turned the corner, I saw the players, all the players that were here, and he would know the fact that all those players showed up that I'm doing it the right way. I'm doing it through connection. I'm doing it through love. I'm doing it through juice and energy, and that actually calmed me down. It really did. I was nervous and excited at the same time. When I saw all those players waiting for me right around the corner, it totally put me at peace. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Tim Cowlishaw, Dallas Morning News. I had a question that kind of got blown away by these last two questions about your dad. What I wanted to ask, was...
Damn, he about to die.
It's not that emotional. When you were
You're choking me up already.
Jeez, damn,
You
dog.
want my water, Tim?
I'm not on TV anymore. I don't have to worry about it. When you were 12 or 13, the drive and the fumble, those seasons, how they ended. And I'm just wondering how that impacted seeing those teams who were tremendously successful in the city of Cleveland was going crazy over them. See it end like that.
Devastating.
What's that meant for you?
Devastating. The amount of work and effort that goes into putting together a great season. I think the year of the drive, they were the 1 seed. I think they were 12-4. I know they're a really good team, and how they got there was crazy. I mean, people don't even remember the Jets playoff game right before that. Mark Mosley missed a couple field goals, and then he hit one, the last one, the game winner. Just devastating. And I remember, I was fortunate my dad kept me involved in a lot of this stuff, which is where the family piece comes in. But I remember after the game going down in the locker room, and just the feeling just felt like it was a funeral. And then when you get older and you get into the business, Tim, you're like, you get it. I mean, the sacrifices that these young men make with their time, their body, their health, all those things, to commit to something, a dream, a vision, a goal, and to be so close and to have it come up short in one of really two of the most devastating. The drive wasn't as bad as the fumble. The fumble was worse because, again, for those that remember, a little bit of a football historian, I guess, but they were down 21-3 at halftime. They came ripping back in Denver the very next year. Ernest Biner, the stats, I don't remember the stats, but it was incredible. He went crazy in the second half and got them back into the game. And to lose the way they did on a simple play. I mean, again, it happens, but Webster Slaughter, he's the
Webster Slaughter, baby.
Got man-to-man with Jeremiah Castillo, and he goes to run him off, and probably didn't run him off far enough, and so Jeremiah looks back, and when Ernest bounced the ball to the left, I remember like it was yesterday. It's crazy, I can remember all these things. But literally, he never saw him. He came from the side, and Ernest never saw him. And when you look at the film, if you pull up the highlight today, you can see the absolute misery of Ernest, which he had laid his heart and soul out on the field. And he's laying there at the 1 yard line, devastated. And I think it was Cody Risen. I won't be right, but a player went and picked him up and supported him. And without that, you have nothing. And that's why you guys ask me all the time about the connection piece and stuff like that. Like these things that these young men try to do around the league, not just here, it's different. I mean, they commit something and they give it their all, not for money, not for fame and things like that. Yeah, that's nice, but they do it because they love one another. And those are ones that stick with you. Obviously, with the fact I've taken up 5 minutes this press conference rehashing those two plays.
Right, Sadi's with The Athletic. Just want to ask you about Cooper Beebe. Last year he was making the transition from guard to center. This year, as you see him growing in that role, how do you see the mental aspects of IDing front, setting protections, things like that, and where he's at mentally playing the position?
Sad, he was incredible last year for having never played the position. The biggest thing was not learning. The learning's easy. It's the communication, Now with some of the things that we're doing in terms of movements and stuff, like pre-snap movements and stuff, the challenge for him, which he's passing with flying colors has been you sometimes make a point, and then you got to make a different idea or a point. But the command of what he has now is really cool to see. And, like, he and Dak actually have gone back and forth a couple times where it's like, Cooper's like, we're going here. Dak's like, no, I want to go there. Cooper's like, no, we're going here. Dak's like, yeah, go there. We're good. Yeah. Whereas last year that wouldn't have happened. So there's a command and a confidence that Cooper has. And, I'm a huge Cooper Beebe fan, but I'm also a big believer on the importance of a center. Some of the best teams I've ever been on, I'll talk about the New York Jets, was having a guy like Nick Mangold in the middle, driving things, and you go back, to the great Steelers teams, Mike Webster. I mean,
Mike Webster, baby.
Some people blow it off.
He going all the way back.
They touch the ball on every play, and if you don't have the right one, man, it's hard. And he's certainly the right one.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of Brevin Spanford in these offseason availabilities. Him taking a year 2 jump in the receiving game specifically, how big would that be for your tight end room? Be
amazing. He had an incredible offseason. He really did. Really all the tight ends did, but since you asked about Brev, I'll talk about him. The size alone, he moves really well. I think he added like 6 or 7 pounds of lean muscle mass.
Woo.
This guy is not just a run blocker, pass protector. This guy can be a weapon because of his size in the middle of the field, matched up on linebackers and safeties. And, the thing I've loved about Brev from day one is you knew that this was not too big for him. You knew mentally, he knew, I belong here. Doesn't matter, how I got here. I belong here. And he's pushing Fergie and Scooney and those guys. And he's already made the jump. So you asked me how I feel about it. He's already made the jump. And, again, he's another guy that when he puts the pads on, you're going to see him and feel him.
Brad.
Brad Townsend, Dallas Morning News. One more family question, if you don't mind. If I'm not mistaken, so when you go back and spend time with your family, you're going to be an empty nester pretty soon? How are you?
That means I'm old, Brad. That means I'm really old. Thanks.
How are you mentally prepared for that?
I haven't really had time to think about it, to be honest with you. My wife, probably, on the other hand, she's thought about it all the time. It's we've obviously had a home in Nashville for a long time, and we're so excited to be now plugged here as Texans, I guess you call it, as part of Dallas, and. It's going to be great, and we'll figure out what we still have in common, which I'm sure is quite a bit. There'll be different conversations. We'll talk about football and our kids always, but we also have the dogs, man. There's a lot of dogs. When things go good or bad, she buys dogs, and I don't know. I really don't know why. I mean, literally, I come home and
George,
hey, you got fired. Yeah, let's get a dog. Oh, you got hired. Let's get a dog.
Down, George.
And so there's a lot of dogs that. So we're really not empty nesters, I guess.
Joe.
Joe Hoyt, DLS Sports. Jake Ferguson obviously dealt with a lot of injuries last year. He even talked about how having no touchdowns last year has been a motivating factor. Have you seen him motivated, Jake Ferguson, and what are your hopes and expectations for him?
Yeah, the answer is yes. I think last year's a fluke. He definitely dealt with some stuff that was hard for him.
Listen properly.
Jake's always motivated. Jake is one of those tone setters where he just plays the right way. He's one of those guys that's able to practice in this format and be competitive but not combative. But the look on his eye, the way his body looks in terms of his physique and the way he's moving has been noticeably different in a good way. He's really motivated. He's really excited. Maybe it's the fact he's getting married and he's busy with commercials and things like that, but he's been great. That whole tight end group, Lunda Wells does a great job with those guys, and it's going to be a really fun battle for you guys and for us as coaches to watch the tight ends and how it play out during the training camp. But Fergie's doing great.
All righty.
Thanks, guys. To all the fathers, happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers, man. Man. So many takeaways that I want to take away, but I appreciate everybody, man, for jumping in and tuning in to these type of conversations for the nation. My biggest takeaway, man, is that Shotty is human. He's a human, you know what I'm saying? And normally we so used to this robotic thing, and just like anything with Mike McCarthy, just like with Jason Garrett, how you doing, guys? And Jason Garrett will tell you a few stories but his storytelling is not the same, right? Who remember the Navy SEAL story, right? And then with Mike McCarthy, he would tell you about some Chinese bamboo and all of this stuff takes 5 years to grow, but they cut that damn bamboo down after 5 years with Mike McCarthy. And I guess it was rooted, but he was uprooted after 5 years. But when we started to look at everything, and then, of course, Coach Wade Phillips. If y'all was around for those pressers, man, may God bless you. And the best pressers we had was with Bill Parcells. I mean, the media people were kind of scared to ask him something, because they know that he would snap on him or he would make a joke out of them or what have you. But happy Father's Day to you all. I never had a meaningful father in my life like that, so I don't really know how this day feel outside of my grandfather. But I would tell y'all that those who are with the ability to grow up with a meaningful father, that's everything, right? And I really appreciate the fatherhood and the brotherhood that these things exhibit and exuded and these sorts of things. But neither here nor there. Not to take away from Father's Day, don't be going out there giving us only some draws and some colognes and bow ties and stuff and toolboxes and grills. Go ahead and make sure that you guys spend time with your father in a good way, not in a bad way, if you know what I mean. But neither here nor there, man, just to see the countenance on his face on how much his dad meant for him is everything. So I would tell you guys that first and foremost that this particular guy, he going places, man. Yes, indeed. So, and Eagles, Washington, and Giants. Don't forget to tell your daddy Happy Father's Day. His name is Dak Prescott. Please, don't forget to tell him now. Don't forget to support him on Father's Day on Sunday. Don't forget to do that. Don't forget to do that now. Y'all go out there and support your father on Thanksgiving, on Father's Day. I'm about to say Thanksgiving, but on Father's Day, y'all make sure Eagles, Giants, and Washington, y'all be sure to reach out to your dad. His name is Dak Prescott, by the way. Where Maury at when you need him? Yes, indeed. But neither here nor there, Cowboy Nation, that was... Confused circuit boy, leg boy. Yes, indeed. No. We in here. We own Dak Prescott. No, Eric, old head young bull. Can anybody put out there, ladies and gentlemen, what is Dak Prescott record is against the Eagles? I just need to know. Now, granted, in the postseason, I get it, 2-5 Dak, but anything else, you got to understand that y'all dad, Dak Prescott, y'all dad, Dak Prescott, been whooping y'all backside, BTA for a long time, Yes, indeed, man. Okay, 9-4. So until that record is otherwise, that's your daddy. Yeah. And whatever it is, whatever his record is technically over the NFC East, y'all be sure, and only time that their dad get caught up is when he goes to the postseason and they ain't at the house. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going on. So if you ended up the Cowboys versus the Eagles, Washington, the Giants in the postseason. Oh, Daddy, y'all call him Daddy Dak. Daddy Dak is whooping that backside. BTA. Yes, indeed. But neither here nor there. It's good seeing our kids winning because that's what it was. The Eagles, they were one of our kids. They won last season. They still got to keep up and they got to catch up. So 33-8, Daddy Dak was diabolical, by the way. But my other takeaways of all of this is that Shotty, he's cross training. He's cross training everybody. Kavontae Turpin getting running back drills. Hunter Lukey in the tight end room, which we know Hunter can catch the ball. We like to see a few of these things and saying to ourselves, all right, cool. On a wheel route, he's able to catch that out of the backfield and these sorts and run upfield and get things going in the right direction. That's 3rd and 30, Daddy Dak. Yeah, boy, y'all crazy. Dak and his kids, man. Somebody make that meme and tag me on it so I can put it out there on Twitter. But to make a longer story short, the Cowboys, Schotty, is one of those guys that I can foresee down the stretch is going to elevate this team in such a good way that we can all look back on and say, yeah, because he's so personal and interpersonal. Like, that's good sound advice when he said Donovan Ezeraku said, hey, what do I need to work on? In 4 weeks from here, I need to be doing something. And he said, first and foremost, hey, check out with Solomon Thomas. He's been in this building for a long time as it relates to the NFL. Check out with him. And if he don't work, check out with Parsons. If he don't work, then check out with Dak Prescott. Those are valuable things, right? And he's telling other guys, spend time with your family. Let them know that, hey, we about to go into war. So spend all of the time you can. Focus on the things that you need to focus on now, right? Get all of your well, you know, there's a movie came out many of years ago. One of the favorite movies of all time, you know. And when it was time for him to go see something, King told him, go sort your royal oats, man, meaning that go see other things in life, right? And Hakeem, he did just that. He went to America, but he flipped it on him. He went to go look for his queen. But there are times in life that you got to reflect. You got to sit back. You got to figure out a way to say to yourself, okay, let me hit the refresh button. And that's what Shotty said. I'm going to hit the refresh button, be with the kids or the family. Maybe you go to a beach somewhere, sip on my Mai Tai, sip on my Shotty. I still have my iPad and my phone right where it need to be, but I'm going to go out here and check on something else. But when it's time for me to get locked in, hey, I'm going to be locked in, not locked out. And these are the things that we are both looking at, you know. Yes, indeed. Dak has a 33-8 record against the NFC East opponents in his 9 years career. Yeah, Jeremy. So that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Now, of course, we want other results, but at the end of the day, if the roles were reversed, right? If it was a situation in a scenario that the Washington had that number, we wouldn't be able to hear the end of it. If the Giants had that number, we wouldn't hear the end of it, and as well as the Eagles. Granted, they do have 2 Super Bowls within that 9-year span, which I get it. They can rag home to it. But still, deep down in the hearts of hearts, they still want to be where we at. Don't get it twisted. They still want to be where we at, you know, and that's the reality of it because you guys can see it, Cowboy Nation. Baby said, catch up. Dad got all of the trophies over here. They still like at the end of the day, Eagles fans that's watching right now, what pathway are you guys on? Are you guys on a pathway to 6 or are you on a pathway to 3? Because at the end of the day, we are on a pathway to 6. And until you get to that pathway to 6, you don't know how long that road going to take. So we just letting you know that road is a long road, not a short one. So it's a long road. You know, the road to 3 we done already been. So wherever they talking about doing, we done already did it. Y'all remember that song? Yeah, I've been there. I done that. Used to be, you know what I'm saying? Y'all remember that song? I know I messed the lyrics up, but y'all give it what I'm saying. Yeah. So it is for what it is. So at the end of the day, that's the reality of it, Cowboy Nation. They want to be where we are at. They want to be where we're at. That's why they're here. Yes, indeed. You know, yes, indeed. So at the end of the day, you guys want to be where we are at. We're on a road to 6. They're on a road to 3. That's the differences of this conversation. You know, I don't care how long. And you saying it is an old, long road. Well, let me know how long it would take for you to get to this road to being on the pathway to 6. Because we done been to where all of you guys been to. So at the end of the day, just because you hit it now doesn't mean that we done already hit it. We done already radiated. We done hit it first. Yes, indeed. So, and at the end of the day, this dude said, Philadelphia says, look, this is what the Eagles do. You know what I'm saying? They don't have content creators that they can go to and talk to, right? But he says, if we're talking about history to the Eagles are tied up with the championship titles. And 5, we talking about old history. So let me know the name of the trophies that you guys won, because the last I can check, the 2 that y'all won is a Super Bowl, right? I can right now set up a foot race right down the street, right? And it's just me and a bunch of preschoolers. I'm going to win 100% of the time because at the end of the day, these are not on the same level as me, right? But if I set up something that's on the same plane and everybody get a chance to fight for a Super Bowl, meaning that these are teams after the integrations of all of this stuff, because by the time when y'all was winning, there got people that looked like me was marching down the street talking about free at last, free at last. Y'all was winning those type of rings or championships when people that looked like me were not allowed to even play on the field, so that's not even in the same category. Man, y'all was playing football and winning before prohibition. That means that was happening before somebody said put the drink down. That happened before people had the right to drink. So people couldn't even watch the game with being under the influence. Matter of fact, that's before, ladies and gentlemen, for the historical data, that's literally before women had the right to vote. I'm talking about women. Y'all counting those rings? Come on. Yes, indeed. So all of that ceased to exist when the Cowboys came on the scene. Come on with it. But at the end of the day, man, go where you are celebrated, not tolerated, Eagles fans. I love getting on them boys. But I've heard storylines that even the Giants figure and think the same way, because the Giants won a few rings before the Super Bowl and all of this stuff, before the 1960s or what have you. And they say, well, technically, as a Giant fan, we got 9 rings too and all of this stuff. When it was like 10 pro teams, right? 10 pro teams. Law, I'm a Cowboy fan from Philly. Here's the only place where 2 is more than 5. Yeah. Yes.
This is where we hold up. This is where we fight.
Yes, indeed, man. It's funny, though. But at the end of the day, man, what they want, I mean, come on with it. It's what it is. Old prohibition, look at that. Women didn't even have the right to vote, Shoot. We still had Jim Crow laws. Jim Crow law was still into effect. Yes, indeed. Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King were still alive before all of that time. Yeah, you got us, man. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for your super chat. The Bulls have 2 3-peats in the 90s. Do we say that was long ago? Do we respect their place in history? It's called Dynasty for a reason. Sit down. This is from you got us, the poet, man. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. That is a good fact, That is a good fact. None of these things got expiration dates on it. But to think about Marty and what he was saying, just to get back onto that conversation, what's it, 1919? Man, they were playing football before the Greeks came around, 06, they're like, hey, we over here at 1905, Eagles versus the Pelicans, whatever they were doing at that time. Medgar Evers was still alive, too broke to pay attention. You ain't lying. Yes, indeed. But neither here nor there, even though as funny as it may be, I think that the Cowboys heading into this particular situation with their heads high and they got the camaraderie. I like the fact that Sam Williams won a off-season reward because here's the thing with Sam Williams. Even though he's athletic, this dude still ran a 4.3 or 4.4 40 at his size and stature. This dude, out of 600 reps, got, I believe, 8 sacks. That's crazy. Out of 600 reps. 4 forced fumbles. That's crazy, y'all. That is absolute crazy. So wait a minute. My guy Dak Owens says, even if we are allowed the leather helmet titles, why are they only tied? Philly established in 1933. Cowboys established in 1960. There's nothing to be talked about. Yeah, you're right. You're right. There's nothing to be talked about with that. But, at the end of the day, the Cowboys are Cowboys, man. We get everybody best shot. Ain't this right, AI? Yeah. Yes, indeed. So we got to get things going the best way possible. And with that being said, Cowboy Nation, damn, 1919. Yeah, the gambler. The road to 6, baby. So when you ask the Eagles what road are they on, they on the road to 3, right? And when you ask the Washington what road they are on the road to 4, and the Giants on the road to 5. If anyone got room to talk, it would have to be the Giants, right? If they can manage to win this year and tie us up, then we have no word to say about them. But you notice one thing. The higher you climb with this, the less trash talking you get with this. Giant fans, they don't do a lot of trash talking compared to the Washington team. And the Washington team don't do a lot of trash talking compared to the Eagles team. Yeah. Because everybody been there before. The Eagles just now getting their beaks wet, the tip wet and all of this stuff. So they talking about it like, hey, have you ever seen this before? Like, yeah, we've been there before. All right, Cowboy Nation, I really appreciate everybody, man, for jumping in. We did an extenuant of this particular show. I thank y'all so much for your support. Be sure to hit that like button, share this content of the presser. Keep in mind, I'm not saying that I'm leaving because of the viewership is down, but my bandwidth is long. We got a lot of things that I got to uncover, editing and things of that nature. So we try to keep the shows during the off season anywhere between an hour to an hour and 30 minutes. 2 hours is kind of like pushing it, but I really love y'all and I respect all of y'all time, and my time is very thin. It's razor blade thin. It's literally thin that you can see, LeBron James top of the hair thin. It's thin like that. And you got the little ones running around, and I can't be stuck in this room all day because I got a lot of bandwidth. But I really appreciate y'all's support. Thank y'all. Be sure to check out Shotty's interview. Respect to all copyright. This all copyright belongs to the Cowboys as far as the video and the footages that we showcased today and the audio. So be sure to respect Cowboys.com. Be sure to give them a like and follow as well. As we depart one from another, I really appreciate you guys so much for your love and adulations. Without hesitations nor deviations to the matter, be sure to hit that like, share this content, let people know where to go when it's time to tune in to Cowboys Sports Talk and beyond. Cowboy Nation. I'm going to say this one quote from Jim Rowan. It states this: when the end comes for me, let it find me conquering a new mountain, not sliding down an old one. When we talk about these things to Philadelphia, we appreciate you, man. Thank you for jumping in. Keep the engagement up. But in actuality, it's not bragging. Stating facts are not bragging. Because on one end, you can say, yeah, it's been 30 years, 30 seasons. The Cowboys haven't done X, Y, and Z. There's a gap about as wide as Michael Strahan's mouth, right, between the Cowboys and the Eagles. Now, we know our problems. We dealing with Jerry Jones versus Stephen Jones, whose son and father relations, they look like they can be brothers. We dealing with their ideology of media first, right? Attention grabbers first, doing Netflix videos and beyond, right? Hiring people that's not even qualified to coach this team. Now, verily, verily, I say unto all Eagles fans, we know all problems. Well, what the hell is y'all problems? Because 30 years, 30 seasons, and that gap is still there. You haven't moved up the rankings since 1995. You still looking up to the Washington team. You still looking up to the Giants team. And most importantly, while you guys are looking up so much, you got stomach muscles on your neck, you're still extending and looking up to the great Dallas Cowboys. It's quite strange to me that the youngest team is the best team, the Cowboys. We're not even located in the East, and there are more people, more and more people that can identify the Cowboys as the East of the Beast or the Beast of the East than we can think of in Philadelphia, that we can think of in Washington, that we can think of in New York. So there, I tell you all, it's not bragging when it's facts. It's not bragging that my beard is good. It's not bragging that I'm good with this. This is just who we designed to be. So until y'all close that gap and pass at least to Washington, say less. Be humble. Be humble. Because it took y'all that long to just get 2. Took you that long to get 2. If you multiply that to get 4, it's going to be probably another 80 years. So just remember, respectfully, you are good at being at the bottom, and we are good at being at the top of things. Cowboy Nation, that's all the time that I have for this beautiful moment. Just understand the basic rudiments of number. 5 is greater than 2. You can break 5 down to 2, but you can never break 2 down to 5. Those are not bragging moments. These are just facts that you guys may not want to hear. Cowboy Nation, that's all the time that we have for this moment. Appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. DC for life, not for short. Be sure to hit that rewind for your mind. And I'm going to get back to doing things over here for Law Nation Sports and all of you all to hear.